Superstation.
Marianne Curtis wrote a memoir about her childhood, the adoption, the abuse. CJOB's book club host, Justine Rocher, joins us here on location. What a very inspirational story this is, isn't it?
It was a beautiful moment. Such strength and bravery to be able to overcome everything that she had been through and come on and share her story and write about this, even with not all the support from her family. Writing through her past, it became therapeutic for her. And in the end, she finally made contact with her birth mother after being estranged for 40 years.
Well, Finding Glory is my life story. It came as it was my healing process after many years of tearing myself apart for things that I couldn't understand, why I was tearing myself apart. And then when I started looking at my life at a big picture, the pieces started to be a little more obvious. I was adopted. I was given up at birth. And I was adopted by a mother or a family in Manitoba. And they were not very kind to me. It was circumstances, and I used to blame myself, and I used to blame the wrong people. And then as I got older, I began to look at the big picture and recognize that my mother actually suffered from a mental illness, and I just became a victim of her psychosis. And until I got to see that in my own head, I literally thought I was an abomination and shouldn't have been born.
Blamed yourself.
Yes, and that's where the book came from. Yeah, I lived in a van for a summer and ate my meals off a picnic table like a dog. You know, and I was like 13, 14 years old, and I didn't understand it at the time. You know, it was just, that was my life. I wasn't living, I was surviving. And it carried on throughout adulthood because I didn't, there was that forgiveness level and it affected my relationships. And, sadly, I've been married and divorced a few times more than, normal people are, and I'm not proud of it. But, now I can see why that happened, and I can pretty much promise that it ain't going to happen again. Well, I've had family, but at the same time, I've been orphaned. And then to actually physically hug my birth mom and have her say, you know what, Marianne, we kissed, I didn't want to let you go, but I was forced to, and they tried to change, after I was adopted, they changed their mind, but I was already placed and they couldn't get me back. And she spent 40 years lighting candles on my birthday.
And we'll go to our first caller.
Mom's with me too, we're listening, and I just wanted to say on behalf of me and Mom, we are so proud of you and that we love you so much. And it's just, I can't believe it's been 3 years, but it seems like a lifetime.
Well, I'm so glad you guys are here, and I can't wait to have breakfast with you guys.
Oh, do you want to just hear Mom wants to say something really quickly? Hi, sweetie.
Hi, Mom.
I love you, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad we found each other.
Moments on CJOB 68 Book Club, 10 o'clock Sunday mornings. Justine Rocher joins us here on location at the Habitat site. Incredible woman, isn't she?
Absolutely.
Coming to terms with herself. How long of a process was that for her?
Lifelong. She'd been through, we didn't get into the nitty-gritty details. That, if you want to read the memoir, by all means, but physical, verbal abuse, rape, there's just, the list goes on, and to find forgiveness for her stepmom and her family, it's beautiful, and it's so powerful, and like her strength is just, I sat in awe listening to her.
The forgiveness, it takes a load off you. Did that set her free finally?
Absolutely. From what she told me, it was a big changer in being able to break the cycle, because she said, she wasn't the best mother that she could be, and she had some failed relationships, and she knew that there were some places she was going wrong. And through this path of growing and forgiveness, she was able to grow and kind of break the cycle. And she's, in finding Gloria is her birth mother, she found herself. And it's just a beautiful journey.
How long of a process was that for her to find her birth mother?
Well, she found her after being estranged from her for 40 years. So it wasn't something I believe that she started right away. She was always told that her birth mom didn't want her, that she was worthless. And after her stepmother died, she actually was able to find her birth family through Facebook. It's a wonderful thing, Facebook. And then she found out that they had changed their minds after giving her up, and they always wanted her back.
So the phone calls yesterday, Tell us about that.
That was her sister. I believe it's her half-sister. They live out west, and her mom was with her biological mom, her birth mom. And they were in Winnipeg for a day. She hadn't seen them in 2.5 years, but keeps in very close contact, and they're a big part of her life now. And so I knew that after the show, she was going to have breakfast with them. But then when her sister called just to give that support, you could see the you could hear it, but you could see the emotion on her face. It was pretty hard to keep it together.
I think most people have a book in them. A lot of people won't write it down, but they have a book in them. What inspired Curtis to put this all on paper and to write about this?
She's a writer. She writes journalism, and she's been doing that for years and years. So she's always been able to write. And she was taking a writing class, and her teacher told everyone, write 1,000 words, I believe 5 pages, something like that, about yourself. And she ended up having something like 16 pages. And the teacher read it and said, I can't grade this. This is so much more than just an assignment. This has to be more. And I think that's really where it started, where she realized it was therapeutic for her and she could do this and tell her story.
Very emotional for you as well.
Yeah. I don't hide it. I'm a very emotional person. I become attached to people very quickly, and the bond I felt with Marianne was one that we grew very quickly. And during the show, it's very difficult to keep it together. She's an amazing person, and I think she's already inspiring so many people to change and just kind of reflect on themselves and grow and become a better person from it.
CJOB's Justine Routier. For the entire interview, go to the audio vault at cjob.com, the book club, every Sunday here on CJOB 68.